Coming to you live from digital address GA0992539 Kokomemle, Accra.
And on DSTV channel 421, Go TV channel 144, on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram, we are JoyNews on TV.
We also stream live on YouTube. We are My Joy Online TV, and I am Abita Sibidi.
I am Bernice Abu Baidu, and this is the Friday edition of JoyNews Interactive. There's a lot to discuss. You want to stay with us, and Maps, you start with us.
Yes, and I start with the Special Prosecutor Martin Amadou, who's lamenting a lack of resources and failure of some government appointees to collaborate with him. He explains the reluctance of some state agencies to make available documents that will aid the prosecution of fraudulent activities by public officials is making his work difficult and for his office to work efficiently. So we asked you what your thoughts are on this matter.
What I think will be best, I come back from how do you call it? My background of leadership is autocratic. If he's using the legal means and he's not getting it, he can try it the autocratic way. I think autocracy makes Ghanaians obey rules. Going back to history, it was autocracy that helps us to get whatever we wanted. Construction of roads, putting things in place. So if you can go through autocracy and make things right, I think you should go ahead and do it.
I would say I'm really worried about it, looking at how things are going for Martin Amadou and the things he's bringing out each and every day. But I would want to pre-conclude and say something like, how can a criminal let out a criminal? There are criminals there. So how can they let others out? So let's live with it. Once somebody is caught, the person has to go down alone. They are not going to let the others out. So the best we can do is to protect what is left and make sure we have strict measures protecting what is left. The youth, we are suffering.
You need informations to work. When you don't have informations, it's like a walking blind. So now, before you get to do your job or exercise your duty, you need information. And the information you need, and the information are from people. Now, these people who will give you the information, if they are not willing to give you the information, one way or the other, they are sabotaging you. The main reason why someone will hesitate to give you a document is one way or the other, he's among of, or he or she is among of the whole stuff. Maybe it was part of the orchestration.
I'm not just worried, I'm also angry about that situation. If the current government here is having a certain posture which sends a message across to people that it is not going to condone acts of corruption, and a few individuals are taken out and used as scapegoats to set an example, it will begin to yield fruits. And those who stay in office and cover up criminals and protect wrongdoing will begin to run for their lives.
So those are some of your views on our streets of Accra. And I mean, if you don't have equipment and if people are not trying to work with you, it's very difficult for you to do your work, you understand?
But it's interesting because we heard from the Deputy Attorney General who spoke on PM Express last night saying that, oh, they're going to make sure he gets all that he needs. They're going to create a permanent office. But how long should we wait? And you know, there's a lot of pressure, as the special prosecutor said himself, because a lot of people were excited about the concept of a special prosecutor and thought, okay, at least we could get something going. But it's been a long time and people aren't seeing anything. So it's like, why the rush in the first place and why the fuss if we were going to see this delay? So well, let's hope and see we'll be able to get the quick response that Martin Amadou himself is waiting for and see how it goes with prosecutions.
All right, so let's go to our Facebook page, JoyNews on TV, and see what people have been saying about this matter. Let's start with Walanya Kotia, who says, in fact, government should equip the special prosecutor to start doing his job, because I don't know why former corrupt officials roaming about bragging, boasting, and talking anyhow as if they haven't done anything corrupt. Quick, who says, yes, I'm much than worried. Government must expedite his actions to lay the SPs before Parliament for approval after its 21 days maturity period, immediately and at once.
Constantine Kwesi says, my only worry is given appointment to a retiree who's just paid with my tax contribution for no work done. Okay, and we'll pick a few more. Nana Safu Kantanka says, my humble thought, can we fight corruption in this country. We can only discuss corruption on a daily basis, but fighting it is a different thing altogether. How can we fight corruption when all public offices are managed and controlled? All right, okay, he thinks by corrupt-minded officials. In fact, he uses some strong words there I wouldn't want to repeat, but obviously you can tell that he's really upset about the issue of corruption, and our daily discussing on the matter, he thinks really is going nowhere because we are not able to fight.
It's the same conversation we have with plastic waste, that plastic waste this, plastic waste that, but I mean, we talk about it every day, but nothing's being done, so I understand his frustration.
Yes.
But Bayo Jeremiah says, yes, I'm very much worried. Special prosecutor and RTI are our last options and hopes to help us fight corruption. And if the office of the special prosecutor and the RTI bill will be treated like this by the authorities concerned, I have every right to be worried. It means fighting corruption is impossible at this current state. It is time those institutions and their heads' names are mentioned for the public to know.
And Anuman says, Ghana for you. Why should I be worried since people who would be prosecuted by this man, he believes shall be set free through the intervention of the same people who appointed him? I always feel pity for Ghana because of resources wasted. We are swift in policy development but slow in implementation. God relieve us from this mental slavery, he says. And Meshach Inkum says, no need lamenting if you feel your efforts are being sabotaged and that you won't be able to function as a special prosecutor. Mr. Midu, just resign for Ghanaians to see your no-nonsense nature.
All right, let's take the last comment from Banira, who says, I'm not surprised at all. NPP is doing lip service to Ghanaians and government appointees will not comply because the president exonerates anybody who is suspected.
Interesting comment there, Banira, but we've seen the president come out to say that he will not shield anybody and that once you even, as an ordinary person, make any claim of corruption, even in his government, who want that person investigated and the truth come up. But away from that, host of Peace FM's morning show, Kokroko, Kwame Sefakai, says the governing New Patriotic Party has so far been lousy at communicating their ideas and achievements. In a Tell It As It Is interview with Lexis Bill on Personality Profile on Joy FM Thursday, the reigning GJA Journalist of the Year said there is more room for improvement for government to articulate its policies and programs to the people. And a lot of you have been sharing with us your thoughts about this on social media. We'll take them quickly. Osafo Daniel says exactly, the economic fundamentals are so good, the extent that the CEO of Stanchart is surprised. Standard & Poor, okay, I'm not sure what you're trying to say there. Okay, Standard & Poor has confirmed Moody and Fitch rating agencies are all praising the great change in the Ghanaian economy, ranging from inflation, GDP debt to GDP rating, policy rate, etc. But a typical NDC food soldier will tell us we don't eat those figures, while the communication team of MPP appears to be dumb. Ancient Heritage says, indeed, let us not be too much political or politically fanatic. Let the truth prevail so that government will strengthen its weakness. Proud of you, Chairman General, and that's a name for Kwame Sefakai. He's called Chairman General by a lot of people.
But let's see what Mensa Cecil is saying, and he says, political animals in disguise. Okay, why not take up the communication post in the NPP? After all, you speak for the NPP. All right. Okay, interesting questions.
Lavte says, I don't agree with Kwame. If I sleep in a hotel for £4,500 per night, I will support the NPP government. Okay, but love, you're not telling us why you disagree with him. It's simply because you just support the NPP. You're just trying to tell us by hook or crook you're going to support the NPP.
All right, so let's go to Alexander, who says he's 100% right. I don't know why they have relaxed, thinking that Ghanaians have seen what they have done before. They should take things for granted before they realize that they'll be in opposition.
And NS Bruce says the NPP has the worst communicators in the history of Ghana politics. He doesn't tell us why, though, but that's quite a serious claim to make. And Denial Goodness says, is there any achievement apart from the China takeover? If it's not there, it's not there. Well, Aniona Kwitia says, I agree with my brother, Chairman Sefakai. In fact, he has unveiled the truth and it's up to the governing party to accept the fact.
And the only thing that Steve Kobe Aka says, well.
Well.
Interesting.
Very.
You're still watching JoyNews Interactive with me, Mapita CBD.
And Benes Abu Baid. We'll take a quick breather now. When we come back, as usual, we'll tell you what our most watched videos are.
Welcome back from that breather. Remember to stay interactive with us from Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We are JoyNews on TV. Bernice, I'm going to ask you this question.
Okay.
How many eggs does a cock lay?
How many eggs does a cock lay?
Yes.
So I did some logic and logical thinking in school, so I know cocks don't lay eggs.
All right, so let's find out what people said.
A cock doesn't lay eggs. It's hens which lay eggs. Yeah.
A cock does not lay eggs.
Are you sure?
A hen lay eggs.
Are you sure?
I know.
Hybrid.
No, there's no way. Depends.
Like 5.
Yeah, it depends. 5. A cock doesn't lay eggs.
Not really. I don't know.
Guess. Make a guess.
5.
Come again.
5.
How many eggs
does a cock lay in a day?
Oh, I'm not a cook. It's 6.
6.
Yeah, 6.
Some people are going to get answers from their lecturers this morning, Mapito.
Cocks don't lay eggs.
I know, right?
Cocks don't lay eggs.
But you know, this thing is very tricky.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. If you haven't learned it to take every word, you know, into account, you may just think that, oh, okay, you may just want to answer the question.
And also there's a life lesson in that, is that listen well. Listen well. Don't just listen to, you know, to answer the question. Listen to understand the question, and then you could, because people are so quick to be like, okay, the answer is this. You understand? So listen well.
Oh, that's very hilarious, Maps. Someone said 6, another said 5. But I'm wondering what went into determining those answers, really.
I don't know. I don't know. They said it depends.
All
so,
right, okay, guys. So
fine.
just in case you didn't know, a cock doesn't lay eggs, something just so that we can also learn on the show and not to make fun of anybody.
Yeah.
Let's now tell you what our most watched videos are for the week. And Mapito, top of that list is Israel's report on the Men's Gold Office in London that had 178,000 views. And we've been doing this over time to know that this is actually really huge, and usually we monitor videos over the week, and this is quite huge. And so there you have that video in your shot of JoyNews editor Israel reporting from London about his observation of operations at the Men's Gold Office in London. And there have been a lot of reactions to this, Mapito, and because we do social media, let's start from what happened there. So the owner of Men's Gold, Nana Appiah Mensah, actually went on his Instagram and used some very strong words, and Israel responded and said, no need for insults. I mean, I just went to do my work. That post has since been deleted, but there were a lot of people who were not excited about the reports that Israel did, and there are others who also think that, hey, why hit on the journalist for doing his work? It's up to you as a business person to also do what you have to do. But there's a line in that response where he says that the Pope doesn't do business. And I think that did Nana Appiah Mensah more harm than good, because people took out that and said, what are you trying to say?
And a lot of people are asking, where are your PR managers? Don't you have social media managers and communicators? And why are you saying stuff like this? You know, sort out the problem. And like Israel said, hashtag focus.
Yeah, and that hashtag has been trending for some time. Let's move to the second most viewed video, which has, you know, it's like way below that 178,000 target with 33,000. And that is from former President Mahama preaching at church, saying people should seek the favor of God and they would reap 1,000 fold. Just listen.
God can select you for favor. That is, if you seek his favor and if you do the things that please him. There are many others in the Bible I can give you. Isaac was blessed. Isaac was favored by God, so that even when there was famine and there was drought, and Isaac planted his seed, he harvested 100-fold. So even in the midst of hardship, like the economy is hard, a lot of people say, things are hard. If you seek the favor of God, you will reap 100-fold, even in the midst of hardship. You remember the story of Jacob and Esau? God favored Jacob, and eventually Jacob got the blessings of his father. And Jacob prospered and became a very rich man, very wealthy. Remember the story of Joseph. Joseph was sold into bondage by his brothers. And God has a purpose for everything. You think that it was a calamity that had befallen Joseph, because to be sold by your brothers to slave traders, not knowing where they are taking you, Joseph must have felt very betrayed and very sad that his brothers would do that to him. But God had a plan. And so the slave traders took him to Egypt. And if you remember, they put him in Potiphar's house. And then he had a problem and he was put in prison. And then the Pharaoh had some dreams, and it was only Joseph who was able to interpret those dreams. And so Pharaoh brought him and made him his chief minister. And eventually, it was him who saved his brothers who had sold him into slavery. Because his brothers, there was a famine, and they had no food, and they said, let's go to Egypt and look for food. And when they went, their brother was the chief minister, and he gave them food to take back to his father. So that is God's favor. And when it's manifesting, it will manifest in different ways. Initially, you think God has done something to you. You ask yourself, God, but why are you putting me through this? Why are you doing this to me? But in the end, when you have hindsight, you see that God was preparing you.
Preach on former President Mahama.
And
you know, this is not the first time he's actually speaking in church, you know. It appears he's quite active.
And he was saying, you know what, the economy is hard. Just seek the favor of the Lord and you'll be okay. So even him, you can tell there's not.
I like the part
easy.
of the Bible that says that you will find favor before God. Amen. You know,
exactly.
so it's double dose.
All right, now let's talk to a rather interesting story. And Career Circuit Court's judge hands a 40-year-old scrap dealer 24-month jail term for stealing a litter bin. Now, social media was just going crazy over this, because they're just saying that, listen, he's probably just, you know, hungry, and he's doing this to earn more money to provide for his family. 24 months in jail for stealing litter bin. Like, it doesn't make sense.
Maps, if I were in the court, my question to that gentleman, if I had the opportunity to ask him, was what he was going to use the bin for. So I was in Kumasi a couple of days ago, and I observed that these bins are dotted in the city. I think it's in a bid to keep the city clean and put bins at vantage points, because usually the complaint of those who throw rubbish around is, there's nowhere to drop it, even though that's not justifiable. But what was he going to use it for? And besides that, for many people, it's always the argument of, oh, the poor man, even if he steals a needle, would serve a long term in jail. And the richer folks, when they steal a lot, will always find their way out of the system.
And that's why they say money makes the world go round.
Well, let's see how it goes with him.
And that had 25,000 views.
And that was our third most watched video. You can get onto our Facebook page, and you don't need to scroll through all the posts. Just go to the video section. Give yourself a good treat. We post our stories there. We post reports there and all that. But there's a special edition of Ghana Connect happening today, and you do not want to miss that. The focus is to push for input to the national budget.
And stakeholders will discuss where the money in the budget should go. We'll push for allocation of resources to impact lives.
Areas such as infrastructure, healthcare, water, education, social services will be discussed. Join the conversation on all our platforms from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. today. The panelists are Dr. Kojo Mensah Brampa. He's a senior technical advisor at the Ministry of Planning. Dr. Eric Osei-Asibe, he's an economist at the University of Ghana. We've got Franklin Kujo, president of Imani Africa. Florence Aisi-Korte, acting director, Department of Children at the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection. You don't want to miss anything about this program because your views will be shared, and we definitely want to put your concerns in the next budget. So do make a date with us. We are live on all our platforms, on TV, on radio at 5 p.m. And that's how we wrap up this edition. It's not too exciting to say goodbye, but we know you love the weekend, and so just relax
and wait, for next Friday to see us on your screens again. Thank you so much for watching JoyNews Interactive with me, Mapita CBD,
and Benis Abubedu.
And you know how we end it, right? A high five.
Yeah,
we need a high five.
Sure. You know what I'm saying? And we leave you with a video of the day just to relax you and take a little, lightness to the day. See you later.
Thank you.